What you doing, Jimmy? Are you customizing your little man spot there in the Mazda CX-9 while Uncle Mark works on the truck? You are? Alright, buddy. You're a good man. You're a good man, buddy. You're a good man. You're the only thing I like better than RC. Well, not the only thing, but I like you better than anything. Huh? Better than any truck, any airplane, any helicopter. I like you better. Okay, so here we are. Update, most recent update on my do-it-yourself winch project attempt. Now, last video I showed and spoke about how Dutch Love YouTube channel. Dutch Love, he did me a big favor by after he watched one of my videos, and I was talking about how I was going to have to route my winch cable from a motor installation location about here, and I was going to have to then run it all the way up in here somehow down to the hook here. But that's as far as I knew, is that I had to route the cable like that. Now, as you can see, in order to route the cable from the motor here to the winch hook, it's got to do some turning and curving and bending and whatnot. So I couldn't use a rigid tube, what some would call winch cable housing. I couldn't use a rigid winch cable housing for that reason. So when I went to the Ace Hardware store in my neighborhood, which has been there since 1927, by the way, I found this spring here, and I thought, now this is ideal because I need a tube or a housing in which the cable will freely move, right? But it can't be a straight tube because, again, as you can see, in order to go from the motor spool position, the winch motor spool position, up to the hook itself on the front of the truck, it's got to do a whole bunch of bending. Yeah, it's got to do a whole bunch of bending, as you can see. So the spring was the perfect solution. All right, so now this is just set into place, the motor, the winch motor. Now, come over here. Are we getting focusing? Yeah, we are. Okay, so we come over here, and I've got these brackets here. Right here is a foam block, a black foam block. That's temporary. I'm going to actually put in a balsa wood block or something on which the motor will mount. And it'll mount to that. And the reason I need a block is I need to raise the motor up to its current position. And I'm mounting it on the back of the chassis. So it needs a place. So I'm going to have a wood block here. And maybe a wood block of balsa with basswood on the top, something stronger on the top where the motor's going to mount to. Anyway, so the motor's going to be mounted in this position at this height using these brackets. There's the winch cable spool on there. So this is how the motor's going to be mounted, just like that. And I made sure that the body, you know, I can lower the body down onto this whole setup that I'm showing now. I can lower the truck body down over this whole setup, and it'll clear everything. So that's what's important to do. Okay, so anyway, so now I've got my housing done. So the cable is going to come off the spool there. Focusing? Yes. No. Sort of. Okay. Gosh, this irritates. Oh man, when it starts to focus, then I move it again. Okay, anyway, folks, there we are. So the spring worked perfectly because my cable's going to come off the spool here, and it'll go right away. You can see it'll go pretty quickly right into this housing, and it'll go along here and bend just how it needs to bend. And that's the motor that drives the truck. And then down, and then here, it goes on top of the battery compartment and on the edge of it. It's going to work out real great. I can still get my battery in and out just fine. And now I've lost my focus again because it focused on my finger. All right, never got it back. And then the housing continues on. Let's switch hands on this. I tried to get a real video camera instead of a cell phone camera, but man, they're either crazy expensive or they get terrible reviews on Amazon. Anyway, the housing throttle. Can I start over? The winch cable housing continues forward on the truck and it makes a bend here, and then it's got to go down a fair amount. See that? Oh, we got focus. Then it goes down a fair amount and comes through the chassis there and then ends up down here. Okay, so now you can see here, if it focuses, you can see here that this goes through the housing really, really easily. See that? I mean, the bends and stuff in the housing are doing nothing. And because this is a I think it's stainless steel, the spring. It's really soft. The spring is very smooth, that's what I'm trying to say. It's very, very smooth. So the cable, please focus. There we go. So the cable, as you can see, runs through that housing very, 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 very effortlessly. Very effortlessly. Uh-oh. Can you see it back here? Yeah, you can see it that's back into the housing. So it moves through here very effortlessly. And, well, here, we can show you like this. Yep, effortlessly. Okay? So, and finally, I got one response so far from, again, Mr. Dutch Love. I've always appreciated his feedback. I love his channel, his content, and comments and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, he's one of my regulars that I subscribe to and watch regularly, all the time. He's one of them. And so anyway, what? I lost my point. Here. Okay, so the next thing to do is okay, I ordered the gear. Now, the gear that fits the axial motor for this truck, the pinion gear that goes on the shaft, I'm trying to remember what it is. I can't remember the size, but it's, what I did is I ordered the gear that fits on this axial motor, normally, to propel the truck, and I'm hoping that I'll be lucky, and that the splines, see this spool is meant to fit on a, it won't come off right now, but the spool, the inside of the spool has splines for a gear. Now, I believe that this little kit that I bought, which is the spool, the cable, and the hook, I believe that's intended to be used for a servo winch. And a servo winch is where you buy a 360-degree servo, and the name tells you what it does, or you can take a standard servo and modify it to be a 360-degree servo, and in that case, instead of a motor, you'd have a servo here that would turn. But I can't do that because you need an extra channel on your radio. And I don't have that. I'd have to invest a fair amount of money in another surface radio, which I don't really need, to do that. So therefore, my point is what? Gosh, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, yeah. So that's what I'm doing. So, oh yeah. So the gear. So I got the gear that goes on the end of this pinion. I got the pinion gear that goes on the end of this shaft for the axial motor. If I'm very, very lucky, that pinion gear will fit the splines that connect this winch cable spool. If I'm not lucky, then I'll order some more smaller sizes. I think it's going to be too big. But if I'm not lucky and get it right the first time, I'll order an assortment of different sizes until I find the right one that'll both fit the shaft on the motor and fit the splines on the spool. So yeah, so that is it. In a nutshell, you can see how it's going to go. The cable will go from here through the housing, making some turns. Not turns, but bends, and then it'll go down here, and it'll come right out there to the bumper there. And, okay, so I was going to talk about Dutch Love again. He also, I did a video shouting out to people who know more about these things than I do. If they thought that I could install both motors in the truck, the drive motor obviously is already installed. If I could run, my question was on the video, in the title, can I run two motors, this one that drives the truck and this one that would drive the winch? Can I run two motors with two ESCs through a Y cable running into the throttle channel on my receiver? And the answer from Mr. Dutchlove was yes. And oh, that's some good news. Good news. Good news. Okay, so theoretically now I should be able to, oh, and I'm also powering the truck off of its own battery, and I'm powering the winch off of a separate battery of its own, because if we had both motors being powered by one battery, that could be really hard on the battery. It may not like it at all. Could even burst into flame or something crazy like that. So I don't want to overtax the battery. Let's put it that way. I don't want to overtax the battery. So the one battery for the motor on the truck here, and a separate battery to run the winch. Okay, I think this could work. This could work. Alright, so there it is, from front to back. From hook to winch motor, that's the setup we got. Not good focusing. Doesn't like to be very close. Is that the deal? Alright. So anyway, that's the setup now. And I've got pretty high hopes for it. I've got real high hopes for the linkage situation that we've got going on here. Yeah, and then there's a little side view there. All right, folks. I guess that's it. So the next step on the video is to try it. When I get my when I get the right gear on the motor shaft, the winch motor shaft, to fit the winch motor cable spool. When I get that done, I'll be ready to test it, because I'll have my ESC for each. Well, I've already got the ESC, obviously, for the motor in the truck, but I'll have my second ESC, which will be for the winch motor, and I'll have my Y harness to plug both motors into the throttle channel on the receiver inside this box. Yeah, so pretty soon we're gonna actually try this thing out. Holy cow! And again, I've got a little. Looks like you can see it pretty good. I've got a little. You can see it right here. I've got a little eyelet there. You can see. So whatever way the cable is going, up, down, side to side, whatever, it's going to be. Now you can see it pretty good. See what I mean? No matter what angle the cable's at, it's going to be set up just right up front. It's going to be set up just right there. Yeah. I have really, really high hopes for this. Okay, thanks a lot. Thanks for watching. And in the conclusion, I think the next video will be the demo. And I don't know if it'll be a success demo or a fail demo, but it'll be a demo. We'll find out. Thanks.